Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be doing an installation video on the Tour Pak Detach kit on a 21 Road Glide Limited. A couple of years ago I did a similar video on how to actually detach the Tour Pak from the bike once the Detach kit was installed. That was my 2015 Ultra Limited. I'll put a link to that video somewhere up here and in the description below. And it turns out that was my most popular video that I've ever done. So today is going to be installing the Detach kit itself. It no longer comes as a kit. They used to sell it as a complete kit, but you have to buy all the components separately now. They still sell everything. This is all Harley Davidson stuff. And the components consist of the 4-point docking hardware, the Tour Pak detachable frame, the license plate relocation bracket, and the AM/FM antenna relocation bracket. I'm not going to make this a super detailed video. I'm going to do this in sections with a general overview for each section. I want to keep the recording time, editing time down to a minimum, and I don't want this to be a 2-hour video. So this is going to be done as a general overview. The directions that come with each component are pretty well written. You shouldn't have a problem with any of this stuff. Regular tools, nothing crazy, and it should take a couple hours of time altogether. So when we're all done here, I'm going to turn this into this. So let's get to work and see how it all goes. Okay, so the first thing I've done is taking the saddlebags off the seat and disconnected all the wiring harnesses that are between the Tour Pak and the seat, and you can see that right there. Pretty simple to do. And now I'm going to take the Tour Pak off of the OEM Tour Pak frame. And by the way, these Vance and Hines mufflers are sounding pretty good. I really like these. All right, let's get that Tour Pak off. That was simple enough. Tour Pak is off. Now I'm going to remove the Tour Pak frame from the bike frame. Good. T40 Torx. Here, and here. So let me get those guys out, and then the frame should pop right off. Okay, the Torx bolts are out. Let's see. Man, it doesn't get any easier than that. If you haven't tried this stuff, you should give it a try. Waterless cleaner and wax, I guess, in a spray bottle. They say you can use it on a dirty bike. I don't know if I'd go that far, but on a bike that's pretty clean, as this one is, it does a great job. I'm going to use a microfiber to apply it, and then another microfiber to buff it out. Okay, the first kit to go on will be the 4-point docking hardware. These are the two sides. And we've got a bag full of hardware, and the kit number for that is 52300-353, and I'll make a note of that someplace as well. And again, this is for a 21 Road Glide Limited. I'm sure the docking hardware is probably the same for all the touring bikes. Okay, I've got my bracket mounting screws already set up with washers on them. 4 of those guys. And what I'm going to do is get these docking points set up on the floor before I put them on the bike. So we have 4 chrome washers. And the long post, as you can see here, 2 posts on the bracket. The long post goes towards the front of the bike. So it's the washer, spacer on the front post, the docking points themselves, and you can see there's a thicker part and a thinner part on the outside of these things. Thicker part goes toward the bracket. And a screw. And get these guys started, and going to keep them loose enough but snug enough so I can do some adjustments. When everything looks like it's all set, I've got to pull them out and put some Loctite on these things, and then we'll mount them to the bike. I've got the bracket in place with the docking points already loosely attached. Going to have to do some adjustments on these so they're not tightened down all the way, but going to attach the brackets with their bolts to the frame. A little bit of Loctite Red 262, and then apply the torque wrench. All right, 20 foot-pounds on the torque setting. There we go. And the back one is already done. All right, right side applied. Going to move on to the left side now. Okay, the directions call for these horizontal lines, if you can see them right here and there. On each one of these bushings, there's a horizontal line fore and aft, and they want them to be horizontal relative to the floor, I guess. They must change shape over time, and this is the, I guess when they're horizontal, the path of least resistance to get your accessory on there. And then maybe over time you have to take these bushings and adjust them so that the horizontal lines are in a different spot so that the accessory remains tight. Directions also say to have the thicker part of the docking point on the inside, like they are back here, and the thinner part on the outside. So for my application, the Tour Pak Detach, and I also have a passenger backrest, I had to remove all 4 of these washers. They call these optional spacers, and they were in this area here, inside that spacer and inside this docking point. I had to take all 4 of them out and then take the forward docking points and turn them so the thick part was on the outside, and in the back the thick part is on the inside. So what that allows me to do is put the Tour Pak rack in place on the metal spacer and lock it into place. And it fits, get my pick, it fits just inside the inner part of that bushing in the back, and equally spaced on the metal spacer on the front. And it's on there and it's solid. Now let me show you the passenger backrest. So the passenger backrest, don't panic if it doesn't fit on the docking kit, because that's not where it belongs. The forward part goes just inside the shocks. That's the forward mounting point. And the back of the passenger backrest will lock into the outer part of the docking hardware in the front. So the middle part inside for the Tour Pak, outer part outside for an accessory like the passenger backrest. So now that I have these docking points set up the way I want them, as far as which way the spacers are aligned and which way the horizontal lines are aligned, I have to take these screws out again, put some Loctite blue 243 on them, and tighten them to, it says 126 inch-pounds in the directions. Let me show you what else I did here. The original cam locks on the Tour Pak rack are these guys here. And I think they're metal. Seem like it. But there's no locking mechanism. So I ordered the locking kit that goes with it. And I'll put that model number up as soon as I can. But this latch replaces the original black metal latch. And it's got a barrel key that you insert, unlocks the pin, and then you can push the release up and rotate the lock. You know, probably not the most secure thing in the world, but more so than having one that does not lock. I had the same thing on my Ultra Limited, and you know, who knows? I'd rather have it than not, so it's worth a few extra bucks. Okay, now for the license plate relocation bracket. I'm going to take this light off, or the lens cover off anyway. This is also a Custom Dynamics LED Fender brake light, running light. Got a video for that I'll put up as well. And these are the filler lights I was talking about: turn signal, brake light, and running light. Those things are great. They're so bright. Good thing about Custom Dynamics is they give you a lifetime warranty on these lights. So pretty cool. So I'm going to take the Phillips head screws out of here, remove this whole thing. I'm going to take this bracket off the fender, and then this is going to go behind it. I know guys are going to say, that's the ugliest license plate bracket I've ever seen. I don't care. You can get a fancy one that wraps around the bottom, I'm sure, and then you have to replace the light because you need to have the clear part of the brake light facing toward your license plate to light up that license plate. I'm not changing this thing out. There was enough money as it was. So this guy is going to go right back in here. I had the same thing on the Ultra Limited. It was fine. It's a license plate. Who cares? All right, let's get these screws out and get this thing off. Okay, the light is out. Got a big honking Phillips head screw right in there. My screwdriver says Phillips number 3. And yep, that's what it is. And besides that Phillips head screw, this harness will have to be unplugged. Very simple, quick disconnect, feed it through, and there's some dielectric grease on there, and off it comes. I'm just going to clean that fender up with some bug slide, and then we will get this thing mounted in its place. This is the original factory fender light plate, and this is the relocation bracket. So let's see. Yep, they're going to mate together pretty well. I'm trying to do this one-handed, but they do fit together. So what do we got here? We got some hooks on the bottom of the bracket. I think you can see them there. So let's see if they fall into place. That's one side, and that's the other. All right, it's on. This thing is junk. I don't want to say that you're going to have to bend it to make it fit, but you're going to have to form fit it for sure. And you don't want to move it too much because it's just cheap metal, and if you bend it too much, you'll fatigue it and it'll break. But the bracket has its own hooks that set inside the fender, and then the light backing itself also has its own lip that would sit inside the fender, and the two of them don't really agree very well. But it's on there. It's not going anywhere. It is not the best solution. So if you don't already have an expensive LED light, then maybe think about getting the at least the lens with the clear plastic for the license plate light facing down, and get a good form-fitting license plate holder if you care about such things. But it's on there and it's not going to go anywhere. So that's done. I'll put the light itself back on, and then it's on to the antenna relocation kit. Next up is the antenna relocation kit. So I opted for the one that mounts on the back here rather than doing an internal one in the fairing. I just don't feel like taking the fairing apart. I had this external one on the other bike. It worked fine. And when the Tour Pak is on, the antenna will be up top anyway. So the idea is to remove this bolt here. And we've got some hardware in the kit. The kit number is 760000582A. You have the antenna arm itself, some hardware, a cable, and some cable ties, and of course the instructions. So far all these instructions have been really good. Nothing's really been kind of fuzzy or anything. It's all straightforward stuff. So what I got to do is take this bolt out, retain the nut that's on the back. We won't use that bolt anymore. We'll use this one instead. And we're going to set this thing up with the antenna mount, lock washer, and a couple other nuts right here. That's coming off really easy. If you're wondering, it's a T40 Torx and a 1/2-inch nut in the back. And there we are. They say throw that one away and hold on to the nut. Okay, new bolt through the bracket. The original flange nut on the back, and the old bolt was a, what did I say, a T40 Torx. The new one is a 3/16 inch hex head. Yep. And there is a torque setting, 30 to 37 foot-pounds. Where's my torque wrench? Okay, the antenna bracket is installed, and the cable is run up here through the saddlebag frame, tie wrapped to the fender support, run behind the shock because I have to be able to get my backrest mount in there as well, and then up under the seat. So the main harness from all that stuff I disconnected from the Tour Pak will coil up nicely and fit under the seat. I hope. That's what the last one did. This is the new antenna connection. We'll meet with this one in the harness. And that is pretty much it. What I'm going to do now is put the Tour Pak frame in its place, and then mount the Tour Pak to it. And then I should be pretty close to done. All right, the Tour Pak is in place on top of the detachable rack. And you can see here and forward and here and forward the 4 mounting studs for the Tour Pak. I'm going to reuse the original 7/16 inch flange nuts. They do give you a package of hardware with this new rack, 4 washers, 4 nuts. I'm going to reuse what I have. The original configuration did not have a washer on there at all. It was just the flange nuts, these guys here. And so anyway, instructions say to put a washer and a nut on each stud and torque it to, where did I see it? Nope. Help if I read the right sheet. Torque at 2, 60 to 72 inch-pounds. They weren't really difficult to get off the original ones, so we'll give this a shot and see how it goes. Anyway, a washer and a nut for each mounting stud. You can adjust this Tour Pak position also. Right now it's slid all the way back. I could slide it forward by, I guess it's about 1.25 inches maybe. But this was the spot it was in from the factory, so I'm just going to put it back to that spot. Okay, let's get it secured. Well guys, that's it. It's all back together. You can see the new Tour Pak Detach frame underneath. The new license plate bracket and the new antenna relocation bracket for when the Tour Pak is off. That's it. The only thing I like about the original Tour Pak frame that I wish the detached one had on it was this little bit of a tray here. That's where the wiring harnesses would lay on top of this. And this is something new, I guess, for, well, my 15 didn't have it, let's put it that way. The harnesses would lay on the fender, on the paint, which is not a good thing. I guess you get a piece of plastic film that'll stick on there or something like that. You can see what I'm talking about in here. So with the wiring harness in place, maybe you can't see it, it's kind of dark in there, but the fender paint is exposed to those harnesses, whereas with the original rack, they would clip into these stays and keep all that harness plastic off of your paint. I like that idea. Like I said, my 15 did not have that, but so all that's left to do really is to clean up all my crap, and I'm going to take that Tour Pak off again. And that sucker is heavy. It's got to be every bit of 60 pounds. So it's awkward weight too. The last thing you want to do is let go of your Tour Pak and that bracket gouge the paint on your saddlebag. So I got to be real careful taking that thing off and then putting it back on again, because you really can't see what you're doing when you're putting it back on. So just be careful with that. Other than that, that's about it. So guys, don't pay the dealer to do this. It'll take a couple hours of your time and some really basic tools. Nothing crazy. Torque wrench in inch-pounds and in foot-pounds. A T40, a 5/8, a couple of 5/8 wrenches for the antenna bracket. Simple stuff. Just read the directions and take your time with it. In a couple hours you'll be done. I'm sure the dealer would probably charge 3 to 4 hours book time to do this, and not necessary. You can do it at home in your garage. So that's it. I hope this was helpful. I'll put links to the previous video, how to remove the Tour Pak when the kit is already installed. I'll put links to the Custom Dynamics filler lights, fender light, and whatever else I got going on there. So that's it. Have fun with it. Read the directions. They're very clear. And I'll list the parts as well in the description below. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped you out, and we'll see you next time.